PDF that I sent to the group that was the general information drop.
Yeah.
Okay. So in canon, as of right now, who would have liked to have already made it to the town of Oakvale? And who is just arriving?
Just arriving.
I definitely would like to have already been there. Find a nice corner, a trash can, take a nap, sleep in the middle of the day.
So you're just like most of the residents of Gainesville. Okay.
I'm just arriving.
Okay. So, seeing as how Oakville is not that large of a town, there's really only two ways in. You either come in from the Gray Hills, which were on the map, or you come in from the Old Forest. There's one main road that leads through the Old Forest, so unless you somehow got delayed, the two of you would have most likely run into each other at some point. At this time, Ivan and Oscar, if you would like to introduce your characters to each other, this would be a decent time to do that.
You can go, ladies first.
I guess that's Ashley then.
Who said Ivan?
No, we know. I'm Jax. I am a cleric and a knight with no weight behind my name right now.
Sounds helpful.
So,
I'm a paladin. Sorry, not a cleric. Paladin.
This paladin walking down the road that's a human is looking down the road, and you see something that you've seen before. It's just slightly different. Ahead of you on this road to Oakvale, you see a half-orc. However, he's not dressed in the usual garb that most half-orcs are, of either military wear or that of a barbarian or like outlander. Calidus, go ahead and describe what you look like.
I'm Calidus. So pretty much, I'm a big half-orc. Like, I'm 310 pounds, about 6'4", but very soft-spoken, very charismatic, long black hair, and black beard. And I have, whoever seeing me at this moment sees religious symbols on me. You can tell right off the bat that I'm a cleric. But a very muscular, big, menacing-looking cleric.
You said you were a what?
A cleric.
No, like.
Oh, half-orc. Half-orc. Yeah, about 310 pounds, 6'4". I look more human than orc, but I do have physically, menacing orc features.
How do you spell your name?
Kalidus.
Thank you.
All right. So at this point, Calidus and Jax, they're on the road together. Whether you decide to walk near each other or not, make small talk is completely up to you. Within about, I'd say 40 minutes from the point of breaking the tree line of the Old Forest, you arrive upon the town of Oakvale. Oakvale is extremely straightforward. It is an entire town centered around one massive golden oak tree. The first building that you see, and the largest in town, is what is known as, give me 1 second, I need to grab my folder that I have right here. Let's see. Actually, it'll just be quicker to do this.
What's the population of Oakvale?
Oakvale is, imagine, slightly smaller than like Avon Park. It's probably got the population of about 2,000 people. It's mainly a farming community. You do have a strange feeling, however, as you walk through what would be considered like the town line. You feel almost a wave of calm come over you. Most of the issues that you had previously, whether walking through the forest had made you sore, your legs were tired, it all seems to alleviate, at least mentally. You don't feel better per se, but you don't mentally register any aches, pains, grudges that you might have held before entering. So at this point, you have the option of looking around the town. I'm trying to pull up this PDF so I actually get the names once again, because there was like 50 of them. You do, however, upon walking through the town, notice the closest thing I can compare it to is an angel with off-color skin, but he seems very dirty and just kind of ruffled. And he's leaned up against a trash can, just kind of loitering. And he has a habit of watching people as they pass by, specifically focusing around the pocket region.
I walk by him.
Anthony, do you make any attempt to scope these guys?
Oh yeah, definitely the paladin, because he's got like, you know, this really nice armor. I'm checking him out. Excuse me, sir. How may I? Where you going?
I'm just going to the inn. Just have a quick drink.
Oh, you don't want to go to that inn, mate. They'll rip you off. You want to go to that one over there, and I'm going to point in a different direction, like to try to get his attention.
I'll look off in the other direction.
Before freely looking, Ivan, give me an insight check.
2. I don't get it.
Yeah, you completely look in the other direction.
I would like to sleight of hand his pockets.
Oh my god. Asshole.
Anthony, make a sleight of hand check. Oscar, your character is still near Ivan enough. You do notice that something is going on. If you would like to, you could make an insight check or a perception check to see if you catch a visual.
I'm going to do a perception check.
All right.
I rolled an 8, and my modifier is a 6, so I got a 14 total.
Okay,
I rolled-
great.
Hold on. Oh, wait, I forgot. We got dice in Beyond, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I got a 15, and modifier is... You said insight, right?
Insight or perception.
Perception? All right, so 16.
Okay. So what happens is at this point, Jax the Paladin is looking in this opposite direction of the way that this very dirty being, we'll get to that in a second, has pointed him to along this country road. You can clearly see that there is nothing in the direction that he's pointing, but Jax, having just arrived and not taken in the full scene, turns all the way around, not just his head. At which point, you see this filthy-looking Asmar begin to reach for his coin purse.
Whoop.
I don't do anything.
Oh god, what an asshole.
Okay. Ivan, make a general perception check.
I don't get it, bro.
As far as you can tell, he pointed you in the wrong direction. There is no gold or inn of any type in the way that he has pointed to. The only one that you can see is the Prancing Dragon Inn. At this point, you can choose what to do. You don't know that your entire coin purse is now gone. How much gold did you have?
Bro, if he comes near my shit, my eagle's gonna bite him.
10 gold.
So, what little money you did have, has now been successfully swiped by this filthy being you have just talked to.
All right, I just took the 10 gold off my
Just
character.
added 10 gold.
Question. What race are you, Anthony?
Azimir.
What is that? Like an angel or something? What is that?
Yeah, they're like a human angelic being. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, being a cleric.
But I think there's a little more to that.
Okay.
Both you and Jax would both recognize this being as it's basically the equivalent of what a half elf would be if an angel had children.
All right.
They have like an off-color skin tone. They tend to stand a little taller.
Oh, interesting.
So, like I said, from where you see there are a few places. The Prancing Dragon Inn. Off in the distance to the east, there is a large mill house with a windmill. Someone tells you that is Mill Hopper. You see Stallion Stables, a blacksmithing shop called Solid Steel, Gnome Depot, and off way in the distance, you can see what looks like a small hobbit hole tucked into the highest point within this city. Other than that, it's mainly just hovels and tents and housing of what look like either residents or people traveling.
Did the paladin go into the inn already?
No, I walked by him and he stopped me.
Oh, okay. All right.
The filthy angel.
My mistake, mate. There's I guess there's no inn that way. I'm still learning my bearings.
Can I roll a deception check on that?
The insight.
That would be insight versus deception.
All right, you want me to roll deception?
Yes, please. This is to be able to try to keep up your facade.
No, he got it.
I have no one.
Let's see. I got a.
Mm-hmm.
It was I rolled an 11 plus my 4 modifier, so a 15.
I mean, you got me with the 11, bro.
Alrighty.
All my rolls are below 6 right now.
Oof.
New dice.
So as far as Jax, the paladin can tell, this dirty being is being 100% honest with him. To which Calidus is still, I would assume, watching this all play out. Unless you have made a concerted effort to enter the Prancing Dragon Inn.
No, not yet. I like to observe these interactions. Calidus likes to observe these interactions, and I'm just staying back and just watching it happen.
So that's what Calidus is into, watching.
Yep, I'm a watcher.
All right, so I asked Calidus if he wants to head over to the blacksmith because I saw it now.
I tell you, go right ahead, and I'll meet up. I'll meet up with you if you want to go. Go
All
ahead.
right, I take off without him.
I'm gonna follow. I'm gonna follow the paladin.
As the paladin walks away, I want to grab the thief, or I want to grab the rogue by his shoulder and stop him.
All right, that will be a straight up strength check, or let's see, what would be an appropriate skill?
Oof, it's strength, and I got a +3 in strength, so I got 22.
Anthony, go ahead and just try to make a general dexterity check.
Okay.
To see if you can kind of side shuffle out of the way.
I got a 19 total here.
So, most of the time, compared to the usual town folk that you would be dealing with or have swindled in your travels, the little side shuffle wiggle that you do would normally be enough. However, just as you go to turn, you feel a massive hand grip your wrist, and you're not able to move beyond the point that you are at.
I'm like, whoa, mate, I'm not quite into that.
Oh, well, I tell them you must be into other things with your little hands going into people's pockets.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
And I kind of do this gesture. Let me have it.
Am I still muted?
No, you're
I'm gone?
You're gone.
All right, just making sure.
I'm gonna toss him 1 gold piece. I'm like, all right, mate, you got me. I'm just gonna flick it over to him.
You do realize that is a holy paladin that you just robbed.
A holy man. What?
The gods, listen, you don't want to mess with the gods. The gods have punished me enough, and I don't want the same fate for you. Just hand me the man's purse.
Well, which god are we talking about here? There's like over 100 of them, mate.
What god do you believe in?
Whichever one is the most convenient at the moment.
Well, lucky for you, Ilmater is the most convenient for you right now.
What is it? Say it again.
Ilmater.
Ilmater is one of my favorite gods ever. Very useful for when one's in danger of dying and pain and agony and things of that nature. But
and you might be in danger of that now. I say, hand over the purse that you stole from the Holy Paladin, and we can go about our business.
Mate, I only took 1 gold piece. I gave it back to you.
Oh, come on. We have redeemed many of your ilk. Many, what society calls scoundrels. I do not judge you. We all have gone through hardships.
Listen, mate. Gods, I find, are useful when you're dying or you need something. But any other time, it's just a crutch, bud.
No, Ilmater is more than just a crutch. But if you don't hand over that purse, you may actually need a crutch.
I would like to pause for just a second and just ask Anthony a serious question. I noticed that you're using an Australian accent, and you have a fucking boomerang on your equipment sheet. Did you base this character off of fucking Captain Boomerang?
He may have been inspired by Captain Boomerang.
God damn it. All right, it is now in canon that your character is wearing like a super light blue, what looks like a flight attendant's hat and jacket with little white boomerangs cut out on.
That's terrible. That is terrible.
And you have a huge white scarf.
Now I really want to crush a shoulder.
Oof. Well, I've had worse done to me, mate, for a lot less.
I didn't say that in game. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Well, why don't you take me to the nearest place of worship or what have you, and I'll reconsider my evil ways.
I'll tell you what. Come with me, and we'll do a little group worship together.
Oh, mate, I would love that so much. Are there several people there? Because the more people there, the holier I feel at the moment.
Yeah, there's one more person that might be interested in this little group worship that we're about to do.
Well, the more the merrier, mate. Lead the way.
So I'm going to lead him towards the blacksmith.
So as you make your way towards Solid Steel, it is now getting to be what would roughly be dusk. Just as I would say you're about 50 yards away from the entrance, you see most of the lights in there go out, and you see a rather gruff...
Wait, I'm sorry. Where was it that the paladin went to?
I went to the blacksmith. You're right.
He went to the blacksmith.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
So you see a guy that's about 35, 36, human male, walking out of Solid Steel. He is very tarnished with soot and ash and just general grease. And he notices first Jax, and then Calidus and Copper. And damn it, I can't take that name serious.
Awesome, mate.
And he says, "Sorry, boys. Just locked up for the night. The forges, they're all extinguished. If there's anything that you need, I open up at daybreak tomorrow. That'll be very similar to most of the places in town. However, the Prancing Dragon Inn will be your best bet to find lodging if you don't already have some form of arrangement." And he continues on towards his house.
I tell him that's fine. good blacksmith. What was your name again, Mr. Blacksmith guy?
He goes, my name is Roger Ogden.
All right, Mr. Ogden will definitely come back tomorrow in the morning.
Before he takes off, you do see that he takes notice of your religious regalia. And he doesn't really like roll his eyes. You can definitely see that he seems a little bit less than thrilled to deal business with someone of religious order.
Do I notice that too?
Make a general perception check, just because you're not directly in front of this man.
What about me?
Nope.
You would have passed him. However, I don't know if your character has your religious relics out front.
I got an 8.
You don't notice it. It's
Okay.
not really hidden. It's kind of more of just a general feeling or hunch.
Gotcha.
Though I'm a religious man, I respect other people's views, and I really don't say anything to him. I'm quite fine with him not caring for my religious beliefs.
Very well. So he
Like, are you
continues
just gonna
on his
kiss
way.
everyone's ass there, cleric boy?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Are you gonna go ahead and kiss everyone's ass that we meet? Like, holy shit!
Mr. Jax, please come over.
I had over.
Okay, so I'm assuming you're kind of like a holy paladin, right? Like, what is your paladin order? I'm asking outside of the game. Just would I know what his religious faction would be?
Based off of the info dump that was in the folder that I gave out, you do notice that it kind of looks like an inverted Triforce, and you would see that embroidered somewhere upon his robes, and you would know that is the general holy symbol of Atris, the goddess of war and honor.
Okay, so Jax, you follow the goddess of honor, and I want to teach this young man here some honor. So I'm gonna give him a chance to come clean.
Okay. Come clean about what?
Mr. Boomerang guy.
I'm just gonna look around like who are we talking about here, man?
I'll tell you what, Jax, how much gold do you have on you right now?
I reached for my pouch.
You notice there is no pouch left.
I'm like, mate, this cleric here double crossed you.
Make a deception check versus a insight.
15 plus.
Oh shit, nat 20, baby.
Okay, I got 17.
This Captain Boomerang motherfucker is very convincing.
All right, Jax, how you playing that? How are you playing that, Jax?
I mean, he convinced me, so I mean, I guess I dropped it along the way.
Yeah, you dropped it right into his hand.
Well, how would he know that, mate? I'm just a poor beggar. Why would he? Why would I? What would I do with gold in this town, mate?
At this point, you can sit there and do insight versus deception for as long as you want. However, I think that would just like bog things down.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to say is at this point, it comes down to Jax. Just do a straight up roll on the D20, 10 or lower. You genuinely think that you dropped it, 11 or higher. I'll say that somewhere along the way of this conversation that Calidus is able to at least put a shadow of a doubt in your mind.
All right. I got a 10.
Okay. So because you rolled a 10, you are relatively convinced that you have dropped your coin pouch along the way. You had passed through the forest. There were lots of branches. and this strange, dirty person seems to be being completely frank with you.
All right.
Or at least
Mate,
enough
if you
to
had
you
water or
assume.
food on you, maybe I would have stole some of that. But I don't need gold, mate.
At this point, I just tell the rogue that El Mater is with you today.
Yeah, I give two flying shits about that, man.
Very well.
All right. So at this point, pretty much the only two lights that you see other than house lights that are becoming extinguished, there is one coming from the Prancing Dragon Inn, and then very far off in the distance, you see what almost looks like lights within balloons made into a circle around the Hobbit Hole at the top of the hill in this town. But with the exception of that, most of these other shops, stores, residents, they're all circulated around this giant golden oak tree that is in the center of the town. And it seems every single road from every direction at some point converges with this essentially roundabout in the center.
Okay, I'm gonna head to the inn.
Okay.
Be minds if I accompany him?
You asked me that?
Yeah. Mind if I follow you?
Yes, please.
I head with him.
I'm going to accompany the paladin because he seems really friendly.
Very well. So our new
I don't.
cutthroat trio.
You obviously know that I don't trust the rogue at all.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah. Now I really don't trust him.
Based off of this interaction, I will say that you have seen him in action, and anytime that you would make an insight check against deception when he's specifically speaking to you, for the next 2 sessions, you will get advantage on those rolls. But that's only on like perception or insight. So once that is all transpired, the party begins to make their way to the Prancing Dragon Inn. As you approach, you see that this inn is rather strange. Size proportion wise, it seems to be on par with elves, half-orcs, humans. However, a lot of the architecture seems rather Hobbit in design. Most of the doors are rounded. A lot of the windows are rounded and kind of inlaid. The general building itself is green with a lot of like golden trim around what would essentially be like the gutter and around the doors. And as you approach the main door, you see that written above it in also gold lettering, it says the Prancing Dragon Inn, where friendly bellies will never be left empty.
Oh, perfect.
I go inside.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a little hungry from my travels as well.
Yeah, I'm hungry too.
All right.
I tell the paladin, I see that you lost your gold, but fortune is still with you. Someone of your stature and position, I shall feed you tonight.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm gonna ask for that too. Like, how about someone of my stature, mate?
I kind of lift my hand up, like the Rock. Just like, maybe you should pay for us tonight.
This
I'm
is
gonna
when
go to Paladin. I'm like, what? Come on,
this is when Bernard Sanders has officially entered Oakvale. He is now just asking for things. So the three of you wind up opening the door almost immediately. As the door cracks, you just get these scents of meats being cooked, fresh breads, that smell of hot cider right after it's been freshly brewed, and that smell of cinnamon and apple is still in the air. You also smell a very strong smelling mead that is being passed around, and it looks like almost syrupy thick. Most of the tables in here are taken up by peasants or farmers that work the land. However, you do notice that in a very far corner, there is a table that conveniently has 3 open seats at it. However, there are 2 people sitting at that table already, not occupying any of the 3 seats. They're in their own. One of them is a very short figure. The other one is a cloaked figure that has a bird sitting on their shoulder.
I was supposed to be out of town. Just saying. But okay.
Now you're in town. Congrats.
I magically appeared in town.
I motion to Caldas to follow me, and I go over to where the 2 figures are, and I ask them if these seats are taken.
He didn't invite me, but I'm just gonna follow too.
At this point, Lacey and I gotta see what the name was again. I think it's Thrain. Lacey and Dis, you see this odd assortment of what looks like a half orc, a human, and some type of purple bluish figure approach you at your table. You've been here for about 3 hours enjoying several bowls of soup, one of which was on the house because you were first-time customers. Additionally, several of the patrons in here trying to gain some form of favor with you have ordered you a drink here or there, tried to small talk, but for the most part they were boring, and you sent them on their way after having received your drinks.
So they at our table now, sitting there, or they
Are the seats
Yeah.
taken?
The 3 of them are right there.
they're open. You can sit there.
Yeah.
I sit down. I'm going to assume my guy sits down with me.
Are you sitting in the middle of the 3 seats, the one closer to the small dwarvish figure, or the one closer to the elvish figure?
Which one's AJ?
The small dwarvish figure.
I think it's a small dwarvish one.
I'm gonna sit in any seat possible where I can just watch this rogue the whole time.
So in between me and
My nanny.
I like Loki. I don't want the sketchy one sitting next to me.
Do I hear that?
I mean, you're standing right there, so unless she's whispering it, yeah, you would hear it.
I'm like, oh, sweetheart, I don't know what you're talking about. The one you need to worry about's the holy man here. I heard back in holy man school they go, snip, snip. Yeah, no, I'm just saying.
It's pretty much all there, dirty one. In fact, if you want, I can show you my holy mace.
So about the time this is all happening, a rather sloshed gnome actually comes over and kind of hustles up beside Copper.
Mm-hmm.
Copper, you've been in town for a while, so you recognize this person as Harry Goatleaf, who is the owner of the Gnome Depot. He is a very small gnome, but he has an extremely long beard, almost silvery white, and he has a Monopoly Man style mustache and a small monocle and the very classic red gnome hat. He is also wearing suspenders, but they are made out of velvet.
All right.
So he approaches you and goes, "So, you're able to rip off any more new people today?" You can see he is very clearly impaired at this point.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm gonna whisper to him. Yeah, I scored a pounce from the pally here.
He gives a very subtle giggle and then just goes, "Ha!"
Can I roll to see if I heard
Ripping.
Yeah.
General perception checks. Anthony, just roll like a sleight of hand to see if, because you said you were whispering, so I'll just let you use that.
Can I roll one as well?
Alrighty.
Yes.
I'll add mine.
Nat 1 on that wasn't a good enough whisper.
He just yelled it out.
So unless you roll a 1 or lower, you hear this.
Okay, well, you're good.
Oh, so I heard it.
You're fine.
Yeah, I heard that.
What do you mean 1 or low? Okay, you're fine. We both heard
So Anthony rolled a natural 1. So unless you roll 1 or lower, you hear this.
Okay, cool.
And this is the Hobbit, the Butterbur.
No, this is Harry Goatleaf. He is the owner of the Gnome Depot. And as stated in the article that I sent you, he likes to reside at the bar most of the time, letting his workers run his establishment.
Cool beans. I say, did you hear that, bro? He took your gold.
Like he stole from you, and now he's sitting next to you.
I'm like, don't believe him, mate. Don't believe him. Everybody's saying I ripped him off just because I'm just a poor man.
I'm so like turned off that the pally didn't get any of this. That I'm like just so over it, and I just shake my head.
So this conversation happens, and about midway through, Harry Goatleaf looks extremely puzzled. He kind of looks at you and then looks back at pretty much the only person that's dressed like a paladin in this entire establishment and goes, "Didn't you just say you stole from that one? Because now you're saying that you didn't. I'm very confused."
I'm kind of at a loss. I'm gonna not know what to say at this point. I'm like,
All right. So
And this,
Oh, you're lost.
go ahead.
Maybe you should steal some.
I asked for my pouch back.
I thought it was funny. Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna try to.
That is the sweetest way anyone has ever asked for stolen goods back.
I mean, I got no problem, bro. I can't just be aggressive off the bat.
I'm going to try to just take a couple gold pieces, at least 3, and then give him the pouch back with the remaining.
All right. General sleight of hand versus general perception checks.
I got a 19.
All right, you got it.
So you get your gold pouch back, and there are, in fact, 7 gold pieces in there.
I don't think it matters.
I think I dropped them.
And I mean, unless anyone's rolling higher than a 19.
No.
No, whoa.
I rolled.
Oh, she rolled a 19.
I rolled a 19.
Plus whatever she adds.
Plus
So
whatever.
AJ would see this. Whether Dis would like to say anything about it is completely up to them. Or her, or it. I don't know what your preferred pronouns are.
Her. Her.
Wait.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like, bro, he's still taking your money.
I told him this is the last warning before it gets physical.
What was that?
I say this is your last warning before it gets physical, and I ask for the rest of the gold, the rest of my gold.
I'm like, Mike, you got your damn gold pouch back. Now, I think it's a good idea if you walk away.
Now I'm gonna need that gold.
Before anything happens, I need to get a drink.
Okay, so if you would like to stand up from the table at this point in the interaction and work your way over to the bar, it will be relatively easy. It's not packed. You will see that there is a rather hefty hobbit
What the fuck are
with
you doing here?
sandy blonde hair and tan skin operating the bar. He is also wearing a monocle, which seems to be a very common thread in this town.
I asked him for some for his best ale. Just a cup of his best ale.
He looks at you and goes, "You seem new. You must be new in town. I haven't seen you before."
I just
Yeah,
arrived
you
in
got two
town.
on him.
You're still at the table.
Okay.
You
Yeah,
are in the
shut
middle
your ass
of
up, bro.
you are in the middle of heckling with Jax, Alacy, and Dis.
All right.
Anthony, stop acting like Chris, bro.
One time,
That's a compliment,
Anthony's
thank
character
you.
knew John Cena.
It's a compliment. Thank you.
Usually I don't want to have budgies buy these.
Sorry,
So,
Alejandro's getting a shitty beer.
People don't.
oh, Alejandro's here? Nice.
Hi, baby.
That's my other Spanish friend, Alejandro. He's not Mexican, don't worry.
So I'm gonna want two, one for me and one for the pally over there.
Okay, out of game question, what is your amount of currency?
15 gold.
You would have more than that. 15 is what you just start out with at first level. What I will say is, since you are third level, you have 45 total. Specifically just because you work for a clerical order.
Oh,
So you
okay.
most likely have some type of funding behind you.
Yeah, 45 is better than 15.
Jax would have had that much. However, you'd been sent here on a mission by your order, and you still had to leave enough money for your estate to be upkept by your, like,
Retainers.
handyman.
I got you.
Wait, what did you just call them?
Retainers.
Oh, okay. I thought you said something very different. I was like,
What did you think he said? Mexican immigrants or something?
no, worse. Because I know what Ivan likes to say. God damn it.
I can say that. I can say that. I am Latino. I can say that.
Wait, you're Latino? Damn
Yeah, bro.
All right, so he goes, very well. That will be 2 silver. So also just to give you an idea, 10 gold or 10 silver is the makeup of 1 gold. It just goes 10 to 1 and then 5 copper to 1 silver.
Yep.
So it's a very simple breakdown.
So so to 1 gold pretty much.
Yeah, no.
How many silver did he say?
2 silver.
Oh, okay.
206. I got
Two,
So he presents you with 2 rather large stouts. The closest thing that I could think to compare it to would be a Guinness. It's very dark. There's a very brownish cream colored head to both of them. And they are in clear glasses. It is glass specifically, not metal, not wood.
I give him 3 silver. 1 for tip.
Oh, thank you very much, friend. That is very much appreciated. The name is Barliman Butterbur. I did not catch your name.
I am Calidus.
Well, Calidus, you are always welcome at the Prancing Dragon. Just if you cause any trouble, and he looks over at your group of people that you have been around, he goes, I will have to ask you to leave or handle it internally.
I kind of turn around and look at what he's looking at. And I'm like, I am not with them. We are just sharing a table. I am, however, with the paladin.
a
He said, indeed, I saw you walk in with him and the dirty one.
The dirty one is just following us like a stray cat.
He goes, indeed, running a bar, I run into a lot of stray cats, specifically 4 in the back alley.
I kind of felt like this like small guilt. You know, I'm like a religious guy in my
Wait,
stomach.
can I try to overhear that? Because I want to go get a cat.
No.
And I go, you know what? Make it through. Make it. I got to do the math here. Wait, 2, 3, 4. Make it 5 stouts.
1 gold piece.
He goes, okay, that'll be 3 more silver.
All right, I hand him 4. I'm a big tipper, you know, like.
Okay, so you'll be left with break 1 gold and you have 3 silver left over because in total you've given him 7 so far. He gives you back exact change and he goes, in case you're needing a place to stay, there are also multiple rooms that are open. We have 2 that have a single bunk in them, And then we have one with a bunk bed and a single bed in it.
I go, well, if I do need a board, I shall let you know. I'm not even sure I want to stay here for the night.
He goes, very well. Another thing, if I might ask, why is it that you have come to town?
That's something that I'm just passing through, son.
Yeah, very well. If you seek more work for gold, we have the job postings, any kind of gestures, and you see essentially what would be a cork board.
You said cork board?
All right.
Yeah, like a big, like, kind of post-it board with different documents.
All right.
Yeah.
I got you.
Okay, so before I do that, I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 5 stouts in my hand, and I'm just gonna take them to the table. But he did tell me about this board, right? So
correct.
I'll
So you know it's
out.
there.
Yeah.
On the way to, are you headed to the board or to?
No, to the group.
Okay. Give me a general dexterity check.
Oof, my dex is 0, bro. Hold on. I am like not dexterous at all.
I have a -1.
Oh, good roll though. I got a 19.
So, as you were to turn around, you almost trip over the passed out Harry Goatleaf, who has now been completely inebriated and is laying on the floor on his way to get another drink. However, something about the way that you turned, you were able to catch it out of the corner of your eye and kind of sidestep over him as turning, and all of your drinks stay intact.
Sweet.
So,
Noise.
I get to the table, and I pass them out, but to the thief last, though.
So before we get to that part, while he was at the bar, did the thief wind up actually giving back the rest of the gold to the paladin?
I'm gonna give him 2 gold pieces, so I still have 1. Like, all right, here you go. Here you
Bro.
go.
-1d for inspiration to Ivan for racial slur.
Wow.
I'm like, all right, mate, here. I don't want any problems. You look like a good hustle. But this is getting to be a little too much stress here. So you have your gold back.
All right, so it gives me 9 gold back in total, so he still has the 1, right?
Correct.
All right, I tell him I'll give him 2 more gold pieces if he tells me everything he knows about the town once Caldas gets back to the table.
All right.
I accept.
All right. So deal's there, and then Caldas is back to the table.
Fantastic.
And I hear him say that, right, as I come back. Like, I'll give you 2 gold if you give me a rundown of the town.
Yes, like at that point, just because I'm assuming while you were at the bar, the exchange of coin happened, and then you would have been turned around and headed back. This isn't a very lively inn, so most of the stuff you can hear, there is some like cluttered background noise, but for the most part, you can make out what he's saying. He is also a paladin, so he speaks in a generally more explained tone.
Yeah. So as I pass out the AO, I look at the thief and I go, "You see, thief, an honest day's work is less stressful."
I don't know. There's something about him saying that kind of like triggers me. And like, does he hand me the beer?
No, I just putting on a tape. These are big ass like.
Yeah, these are like stouts.
Big stouts.
You
They're
can
like about that wide.
I'm doing a U, bro, from that other game that we played where you're so like super obnoxiously religious.
I'm gonna take the stout and I'm gonna just like throw it in his face, like just splash it on him.
Give me an unarmed attack versus a general. Yeah, just straight unarmed attack. You don't get your. Let's see, what do you operate off of? I will say you get your dexterity bonus because you are technically throwing something. However, it will just be the static +2. with no actual damage.
It's an 8 total with the dex.
If Caldas doesn't react, is there any way that I can move him out of the way if I can see it?
In Pathfinder, they have a general reflex. I will say, give me a general dex. Wait, because you two you're sitting on opposite sides of the table, correct?
I should be.
Because you are close, or Ivan is closer to AJ,
Right.
and what is it? Copper was closer to Lacey.
Yeah.
No,
So the way that
Copper was in the middle.
No.
oh,
Yeah, I said I wasn't sitting next to that hoe.
But did he listen?
But did he?
did you listen?
Oh, I had the holy one next to me.
Because I'm pretty sure I'm sitting next to Caldas, so he can stay in between me and
Wow.
a Copper.
Okay, so as long as you're on opposite sides, it just couldn't be like Anthony and then you and then Calidus on the far side.
Right.
I will say, give me a general strength check to see if you can jerk Calidus out of the way. I'm assuming that Calidus is not going to resist.
Yeah, no, probably not.
Okay, then it would just be a straight roll.
My 15 plus a 3. If it's just a straight roll, then 15.
Okay, so it's going to be an 18 versus Anthony. What was your attack with Dex?
It was an 8 total.
So you go, and on the way back to slosh it forward, Calidus, you feel an arm kind of wrap around your waist and are violently tugged to one side by this strangely strong human for his size and build.
And
I mean, he is 6'7", just to give you some context.
Oh, this guy's a basketball player over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About, about my height. Keep going though.
Yeah, so he's definitely taller than me. I kind of see the slosh pass right by me, and I look at the thief and I go, Il Mater was with me this time.
I'll be like, you know what? I don't need handouts, mate. I'll either steal my shit or I'll earn it. But I don't need any freebies. And I'm gonna like walk away.
Very well. Il Mater be with you, thief.
I flip him off. I give him the finger.
So on the way out, give me a general dexterity check as you are passing the bar.
Sure.
Let this nigga trip so we can laugh at him.
That's funny. I got a 6.
As you are walking past the bar, you are so busy shooting the bird to Calidus, you don't notice the passed out hairy goat leaf by the bar, and you in fact stumble and fall on your face. It doesn't do any damage. Your pride is just more hurt than anything.
After I fall down, I'm just gonna lay there.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna get up.
You're the real thief. Oh my shit.
Yeah, you're taking like a walk of shame at this point, bud.
Are you enough?
I just lay on the ground
Yeah.
face down. I don't even get up.
So you're just laying there.
Yeah, I'm laying next to him.
I as I see that, I kind of like raise my, just from where I'm at, I go, hey, remember, the gods are watching you, and this is karma coming back to strike you.
I have like no idea what he's talking about.
Yeah, at this point, you're more concerned with just not looking like an idiot in the middle of the bar. Because at this point, multiple people have seen you after hearing a large crash. And let's see, what's his name again? Oh, yes. Barlaman Butterbird, the extremely fat hobbit, is just looking at you and shaking his head as this is not the first time that your face has hit the floor of his establishment. This is, however, the first time you've done it by actually tripping and not just passing out.
Yeah.
So, as the night continues, I'm not sure what Copper decides to do. However, at this point, Jax, Calidus, Lacey, and Dis, you are still seated at the table with each other.
Thank you for the food.
I want to go ahead and mention to everyone at this point on the table, if you're interested, I am looking potentially for a group of, a group. There's some jobs posted there, and I think I could use taking my mind off of some things, and maybe it'll be best for the town.
I'm totally down to do whatever. I'm just floating around.
I thank you for the drinks, and I agree that I'll go with him on travel. Holy men on the mission.
And I say,
What was that?
I said 2 holy men on a mission.
I think
Okay.
we could find good work here for this town, and the town would appreciate us blessing them with our abilities.
I agree.
Interesting.
Out of character, I'm guessing that I didn't give Copper the 2 gold coins because I don't remember him telling us anything.
Oh wait, are people actually watching this right now? I just saw the general comments.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
wait, we're live?
Yep.
We're live, yeah.
Oh, I didn't agree to be famous.
I didn't know I was drinking alcohol for people to see.
Oh, shit.
Tough instead of just out of the bottle.
Wait,
For those watching at home, this is apple juice.
Yeah.
It's been
So
Hey, I'm over here doing, weed coughing. So
wait, are you sitting here plugging us on Pillage and Plunder? Because that's technically a competing entertainment platform. So I'm gonna have to ask you to sign an NDA. I don't give you my license to use my likeness and rights for profit or potential leasing through YouTube and or Facebook.
Okay.
All right, so now all the legal stuff is out of the way.
take it back now.
Calls games of Wait by D&D and the entire world of Albion are not owned by me, completely property of TSR and Wizards of the Coast. Thank you. All right, now that we're past all that, so
I was gonna say that out of game. Did I give the extra 2 gold back to Copper?
he never officially gave you information, so that is completely up to you.
All right, so then no, I got 9 gold coins.
All right, so if that is that, I will let everyone have the ability to go to bed for the night. You can choose to rent rooms, divided up however you would like to. As of right now, your only options are either renting a room at the Prancing Dragon or sleeping in the stables with the horses or on the street next to a trash can.
I'll sleep with
Hey,
the horses.
Or
that dude's spitting.
is there a temple? Is there a temple nearby?
Give me a general perception check if you would like to step outside. It will have a -2 because you have had a drink, which is a relatively large size drink, and being a holy man that is not a beer cleric, I do not think that you would have a great tolerance for alcohol.
Can I go?
You haven't met the real life priest that I hang out with.
Can I go with Caldus and also do a check?
Yes, you can both go and check for any temples.
All right. So you said perception, right?
Yes, general perception.
All right. So I got 18, 19. So -2, 17.
-2, 11.
All right. I will say that's good enough to help. While you don't see what would be considered a conventional temple, you do see what looks like a place of reverence of some type. It is not lit up, however, you do see very small amounts of people going in and out with candles and small lanterns.
Okay, I'm gonna seek shelter there.
How much
Alright.
is the room?
So you would be approaching Barlaam Butterbur for the very first time,
Well, I mean,
and
I don't know. I'll just sleep
he
with
would offer you. He's going to ask if it's just going to be you staying in the room alone, or if you are buying multiple rooms.
Can I ask Butterbur how much is a room alone? Because I don't really know anyone here.
Yes, Barlaman Butterbur. First of all, as soon as you approach, he actually gives you a rather admirable nod. Seeing as how you are someone of shorter stature, much like him. I will ask a question, however.
Alright.
In question related to your class, we'll keep that a bit on the DL right now. Do you have any signs of the thing that you worship or draw your power from that are visible?
No, I like to keep that low key.
Okay. In that case, he says it will be 1 gold for the night. However, that does come with breakfast the next day.
All right, yeah, we're in.
And I'm hearing this.
Yes, you would also hear that, but that is a 1-bedroom room.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna get a room from Butterbur for the night.
Okay, so at this point, Dis has successfully booked her room. You may go up to the room if you would like and be good. At this point, Lacey and Copper have not made their plans, and we still need to hear from them.
I'm gonna go sleep in the stables, but if Copper's there, I'm getting myself a room.
Okay.
I'm gonna like go near her, like wherever she goes. I'm just gonna like follow her.
So you're being a standard like guy or neckbeard.
Pretty much. I got that going on right now anyway.
Oh, fantastic. So, Lacey, give me a general perception check. Oh, sorry, coronavirus, you know.
There's a little mute button before you sneeze or cough.
Oh, tight.
No.
Where can we see how many people are watching this? Because I'm terrified.
No, dude, hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. You're doing fucking fabulous.
Yeah, you're doing great.
Yeah, this is really good.
Yeah, no.
Really, really fucking good. We have right now. We only have 171 people watching.
Oh,
Oh, sweet. So it's not 200. Great. Yeah, I agree with Gordonak in the chat. It's sleeping, guys. It's not that deep.
Hey, that's
like-
why you got a room and said.
So far, Dis the dwarf has been the most easygoing person and my favorite so far.
Trying to vibe.
All right. So at this point, Lacey, Copper has followed you to the stables. You said if he'd continue to do that, you were just going to get your own room.
potentially. We'll see how annoying he is.
All right, so we will put you two on pause for just a moment, and we will flick back to Jax and Calidus.
I'll be right back.
No
I'm
problem.
just,
So you two were approaching the temple, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. When you arrive to this rather makeshift temple, you notice that it doesn't actually have any of the general pantheon of the world or any of the pantheon from the handout that I gave you. Instead, you see 5 statues inside. You see the statue of what looks like a pure high elf female. You also see a human that, from his appearance between the lack of armor and the sword, is a barbarian. You also see another human, but this one is a more standard build, classic armor. You would recognize him as a fighter.
Jet, because
Additionally,
No, wait.
because I want to start drinking.
Chance.
yes,
If this is sleeping, can she go do shit?
yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
You see an image of the closest thing you could loop it to would be a moonfolk. For those of you that don't know, a moonfolk would be very similar to like a genie, however, they are completely white. They generally float instead of walking, and their hair is usually done up in relatively high braids. And then you see the image of a human that has very strange armor compared to most things that you have seen.
Yeah, what's there?
So, at this point, you are free to investigate any more that you would like to, or you also have the option of just asking someone that is there. There is a small assortment of people within this area, and they seem to be either going to one or more of these statues, and it would be very similar to going to like a Catholic church where they're lighting candles next to a specific like statue.
Greetings, fellow worshippers.
Relatively, the entire room kind of turns around and gives you a dirty look and gives you just kind of the universal hush. Depending on how loud you say that, I assumed addressing the whole room, you'd be talking loud.
Yeah, so I go, who is in charge here?
Once again, the entire group just kind of looks around and they look at each other and then just kind of do a hand motion to the statues that encircle a half circle.
I look at the paladin and I'm like, this is unlike any worshipping I've ever seen.
I tell him, yeah, this is not what I'm used to.
But I look at the paladin and I go, and I kind of whisper a little bit now that I see that everybody wants silence. And I go, but worship is worship, and I'm just going to go ahead and meditate for the night here.
So before you meditate, so you're going to meditate. Jax, are you doing anything before either sleeping or meditating?
I'll play the Atris. Hey.
Okay. You do see that kind of to the right, because the initial room of this building is a huge circle, and then it looks like there are two smaller circular rooms to either side of the initial circle. One of them has a general altar to most of the known pantheon in this part of the world. The other actually does have lodging. Specifically, it looks like a lot of priests that are traveling through town, and they're all bunked up in there. And then you have the general worship room to the right. So I would assume in search of worshiping Atris, you would be going over to the general practice room.
Right.
Thank you.
Give me a just straight up roll on the D20 and let me know the result.
10.
Okay. Unfortunately, you do not see any followers of Atris in this specific building. Pretty much the only person whatsoever that you do see that is worshiping Elspeth. You would know Elspeth because within the realm of general good deities, Elspeth is a woman of light and justice. So this person, just off of a general read, looks like they could either be a fighter, perhaps a fellow knight, just not wearing their general knightly garb, or perhaps someone from an order of priests.
I walk over to her and whispering, I'll say, hey.
She kind of turns to you and nods.
Hey.
Try. I ask her who she's worshiping to. Also whispering still.
She makes the universal sign of followers that live and worship predominantly in the pantheon of light, which you would recognize as the symbol of Elspeth, the Lady of Light and Justice. It's usually what looks like a sword with almost a sunbeam coming off of it.
All right, I'm gonna just walk by her and just go to pray to my God.
All right. I don't know if you actually own percentile die. However, if you don't, give me a general D20 roll.
I don't know percentile die.
The program.
I'm sorry, what was that?
The character sheet program has dice.
I don't know if it has the percentile dice.
I rolled a 17.
Got a D100.
You don't get any direct, what I would say, communication from Atris. However, this room does have a window located to where the moonlight is shining into this. When you had originally walked in and began praying, the moonlight would have been roughly 15 to 20 feet to your right.
No, watch your
However,
my laptop's literally gonna.
at the end of your prayer, you notice the moonlight is now, and this is only like a 5-minute prayer. Usually Atris deals a lot in very short form worship. A lot of her people tend to be too busy going out and handling fights. So in war, you can't sit there and do a whole 20-minute prayer.
Right.
They're usually very short, very concise. However, you've noticed that within the 5 minutes that it would have taken you to say this prayer to Atris, the moonlight has shifted over, completely engulfing you at this point from its original spot. You can take that as you will. You could either take this as a sign that Atris is with you, or she has at least recognized you in some way, shape, or form. Specifically for doing that, this is out of game. This is completely mechanics based. Anytime that you are to make a Constitution saving throw within the next 2 sessions, add +1 to every one of those for 2 sessions.
Gotcha.
Okay. You are praying. You are sleeping. You two.
Mhm.
What are you doing at this point? Lacey, Copper has been just kind of following you to the horse stables. You have gone there, and the hay isn't what would be considered comfortable, but to your standards, they are very soft and fluffy.
Yeah, I just decide that me and a goblin can sleep there. But like, I'm just gonna go and like, is there any empty stalls?
Give me a general or give me an investigation roll.
15.
15.
Mhm.
There is a stall that is empty. However, I would say there's only about a half foot of total hay in the stall still, because there's not a horse occupying it. So you would have about enough for a pillow, and that's about it.
I decide to go in that one, and I decide to like lay like closest to like the door so that like no one can come inside. It's like have my body like be a blockage.
Okay.
Any golly can just chill in there.
So what Copper sees as you start to approach, you see Lacey walk into this horse stall, and then an eagle sits on top of the stall door, and anytime you attempt to get close to it and attempt to open the stall door, the eagle will actually peck your hand and prevent you from ever actually getting your hand to the latch.
My girl.
Oh my gosh. Made Copper sound like a creeper.
It's your fault.
Ah, man. I just wanted a place that was quiet.
You said I'm going to follow her into the stall.
Not into the stall, into the stable. There's a whole stable in there.
That's even worse.
There's more open stalls. You just can't get into that one.
Oh, that's fine. I don't need to sleep in the same stall as this person.
Okay, so you two are laying down. At this point, Calidus, you had said that you were going to meditate. Would you like to meditate for any specific reason, or are you trying to connect to any deity, or what is your end goal with meditation, or is it simply just calming?
Yeah, I'm just calming myself.
Okay. About how long are you going to be meditating?
I'll probably do like a 30-minute meditation and then pack it up for the night.
Okay. So at this point, everyone would be asleep.
And it's a short rest?
No, this will be actually. Wait, just a minute. It will depend. I need every one of you to give me a wisdom saving throw.
I got an 11 total here.
An 11.
I got a 14. I don't know where AJ is.
I got 13.
I got 13 as well.
Okay.
Roll for AJ. I could go on her thing.
Oh wait, wisdom. I guess.
Is there any way for you guys to mute myself or to mute your hearing from the general conversation? I'm not super familiar with this program.
You just have to mute your computer.
No, I'm trying to have a talk specifically between myself and Anthony.
Oh, you can go to a private chat. So that's our private chat. You click on Anthony. Hold on, let me see if this works.
I don't see like these names that you're talking about. Like that's my problem. If you said that like before you said it shows you his name, but I don't see that.
Use the. No, it's not.
Okay, so just for the time being, I'm just going to assume everyone's on the honor system. Do me a favor, Ashley, Oscar, and Ivan. Mute your computer audio just manually on your computer.
All right, you got it.
You're gonna have to try to
And just give me a thumbs up whenever you're muted.
I'm muting you and Anthony. All you guys have to do is click on the little mic for Chance and Anthony.
Okay.
Right.
So at this point, can you hear me, Anthony?
Yes.
All right. Can anyone else hear me?
Like, stop muting my mic.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
All right. Someone muted me. So about what would be midnight, you are having a dream, but it's less of a dream, and you're not sure if you're actually awake and daydreaming or if you're in a form of literal reality. However, you do still find yourself in the town of Oakvale. You kind of wander the streets. Everything is very foggy, almost to the point where you can barely see any direction in front of you more than about 15 feet. Do me a favor and make another wisdom save.
All right.
That's a security's job. You're principal. My job. You know what? Get off the cabin! Quick,
A 9.
What are we hearing?
I don't know. I'm not doing that.
So on a 9, you gaze towards. What the hell is this?
That's Ivan, bro.
Bro, Ivan, turn your shit off.
You know, well, they muted us. So.
oh my gosh. 150 kilos.
So, like I was saying, on a 9, you gaze towards the foot of the Gray Hills, and you hear, at first you think it's crows or ravens. There's this constant noise just chirping over and over, very high-pitched noises. You start to walk towards it, still within the stream. However, the closer you get, you realize that it's not birds. Make a general perception check.
All right. Perception. All right. 16.
It's a strange combination of screams and whispers. The screams are a very high-pitched, almost repeating chirp, almost rhythmic, to the point where it sounds like a not slow but not fast, just a very mid-tempo drum beat. And the whispers you're hearing, they're not in any language that you can make out. It's extremely garbled. However, every time a whisper happens, you can almost feel your very chest begin to vibrate from the bass in this voice. You still can't make out what it's saying. However, you do see a path to lead to what would be the Gray Mountains. Make a general will save.
Okay.
Oh wait, there's not will in this. Or is there? No, there's not will. That's upsetting. I actually liked will. In that case, just give me a general D20 roll.
Okay.
Clean clothes. Sorry. Angel needs to do
It's fine.
7.
You begin to walk towards this strange path that's illuminated by, it almost seems like a fog light deep in this mist. And you're surprised that you can see the mist, because even just looking down your arm, you can barely see your own hand. However, there's this huge green light illuminating a path. And as you follow it, you see what almost looks like a slit-like pupil that's obsidian black in the middle of this smoky green neon light that is cutting through the mist. And you hear that same deep, guttural, vibrating voice say, "Follow." And you wake up. It is still nighttime. You're still in the stables. However, you are drenched in a cold sweat. And anytime you close your eyes and attempt to sleep, you see the eye again. And this keeps you from getting what would be considered a long rest. You do suffer, or not suffer, but you gain the benefits of a short rest. However, you will be tired to a certain degree the next day. And
Alright.
you are able to go back to sleep. However, it is not a peaceful one.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions before I link us back into the group?
No. That sucks. No, I got the idea.
Okay.
Blur.
It's pretty
How did
good.
everyone sleep?
Sleep.
Good, I guess.
Oh, long
That
rest or a
was, for
short
everyone
rest?
except Anthony, a long rest.
Long rest.
I felt safe knowing Caldas was next to me.
You
Holding
definitely
on
were.
to your mace.
So, it is now at this point daybreak. It would be roughly from what most people consider 6:30 to 7 o'clock. The sun is just starting to break the crest of the hills and spill down into this concave valley that this town is located within. The person that would probably be the most awake is going to actually be Copper. Copper, what would you do as soon as you get up from your very long and restless night?
As soon as I wake up, I'm up and I'm like still remembering this dream I had. I'm gonna try to go to the stable that that Lacey is in, and I want her advice about it.
How much of it would you like to explain to a Lacey?
I want to tell her about like the mist and the darkness and like this creepy eye.
So just to make this fast, for a Lacey specifically, last night, Copper had a dream of the entire town of Oakvale clouded in this very thick, foggy mist. and he heard screams and whispering and this massive green eye staring through the darkness with a snake-like pupil. And he heard the word follow in a very deep and vibrating tone. And after that happened, he woke up and that was his dream.
Sorry, I'm writing down. You said there's screams?
Yes,
Did you hear
screams.
Mhm.
He couldn't tell where they were coming from, but he did hear screams.
Was the mist colored?
It would have just been standard fog and just extremely thick. With how dark it was, it would be very hard to tell what was just the nighttime blackness and the mist. It's kind of like a dream where things are still hazy. You can just remember certain parts of it. However, these were the biggest parts that stood out to him.
Have you had a dream like this before?
No, nothing like that. I thought maybe you would know about this, somebody who's been out in nature and what have you. I'm mostly a city boy.
Would I know anything about this, Chance?
Give me a religion check.
Alejandro, turn it off. Yeah, I'm trying to concentrate and I see you fucking dancing. Oh, no, it's not awesome. Good religion. I got a 5. Booty.
You might have heard something. It's just an eye is a very common religious symbol, especially among a lot of these smaller, not as predominant religions that are in the area. It could be a cult. It could be a simple pagan idealistic routine. You're not sure. Amongst your druidic circle, it would have been over your station. You weren't far enough into your druidic studies for the elders of your druidic circle to have actually told you deep secrets of what they know. You would have been essentially think like in the scheme of like high school, you were essentially a freshman compared to like a college senior.
Okay. So from what I know, an eye is a common religious symbol, so I think we should go talk to Kalidas. Kalidas, how do you say it?
All right, I'll follow you.
So I go and I try to. I say, of course you do. So then I go and try to find.
That's a live stream, dude. Change that shit, bro.
I mean, Anthony is playing a creeper D&D. Anthony, roll for felony.
Like, would I know where? Oh, I probably should have put my actual person's name on here. I'm stupid.
Got hard nipples.
Okay, cool. Would I like know where? Like, did they tell us before we left that they were going to like the temple-ish place?
As far as I know, they just walked outside to see if there was a temple and proceeded to walk to it.
Okay.
So no,
So I'm gonna go try to find him, and then can I like roll to like make an assumption that I assume that he went to the temple?
I mean, you can make a general like investigation.
Okay.
Once again, it's not what would be considered a standard temple.
Yeah.
What time of the day is it right now?
It would be about 6:30, 7 o'clock at this point.
In the morning?
You said
Yes.
investigation or perception?
Investigation.
Okay, 8.
You're not quite sure where they are.
Well, I should probably follow me, so I might be like, "Yo, bro, you have any idea where they went?"
Yeah, I give it a shot.
Yeah, go for it. I mean, essentially what this is going to turn into is you guys just sitting here searching for them for a while. However, if you would like to shortcut it and just do what's considered taking a 20, it would be about 50 minutes. However, you'd be able to eventually locate them.
Well,
I mean,
I rolled a 15 here.
I think at this point, me and Jax will probably want to go get some breakfast somewhere, unless they're serving here.
They aren't serving at this specific hall. However, there are quite a few more people here in the day than there are at night. No one has charged you for your room. And realistically speaking, you could probably just stay here as long as you want. No one's trying to usher you out or make you pay in any way, shape, or form. But if you would like to make your way to the inn, you are more than welcome.
Yeah, I think that's what I would do. I mean, I would wake up. I had a good rest. You know, I spent the night with the gods. I think now it's time to eat some breakfast. Jax, let us go have a meal at the inn.
Oh, the same as last night? I'll follow.
Yes. The drinks were on me last night, but I think this time the food should be on you.
That's only fair.
One thing that is different is Alacy leaves the stables first. Copper, you have been in Oakvale. I wouldn't call you a resident, but you've been here long enough to know that the stables are usually run by a man named Brummel von Fleet. He's usually very attentive, up every morning very early, and strangely, you don't see Rummel anywhere, which is very strange because he is known to take very good care of his horses and be very respectful of them, feed them almost like clockwork. However, you don't see him anywhere, and that's very strange behavior. Make a general perception check.
Oh, also while he's like following me, I take my like gold purse and I like put it like, do like they have bras back then? I don't know. I put it in like my like more secure on my body, like you know what I mean, that he can't just like go and group it.
Okay.
I rolled a 9 on perception.
Was that at advantage or at disadvantage? Because I meant to tell you it was supposed to be at advantage. I didn't know if you just made like a straight roll.
Oh, I didn't know I was advantage. Okay, let me try again. All right, 12.
You notice very briefly. I'm sending it to you in Messenger, just because it's simple. You notice a symbol carved into the top of the stables, and I'm sending that through now. However, no one else seemed to notice it that's been passing in or out of the stable, nor has anyone else realized. There has been no Rummel von Fleet.
This symbol is, I notice it or I remember it?
You notice it. It is carved into the wood, but from what you can tell, you're the only person to recognize the symbol even existing, much less knowing about it. Most people don't even give it a notice at all.
Okay.
So, at this point, the rest of you make your way back to the Prancing Dragon. At the Prancing Dragon, it's surprisingly empty. There's a handful of travelers that seem to be eating breakfast, a couple of bowls of porridge here and there, a few hot cups of tea. This liquid that you could only assume by tasting it is their equivalent to coffee at the time. It's very dark and bitter. If any of you talk to, let me double check, Barlaman Butterer, he will tell you that an entire meal is only 3 copper. But that'll get you a plate and a drink of your choice. The drink selection is relatively limited to the coffee, water, and some milk.
Me and Cal just walk up to talk to them and we order breakfast.
Okay. So getting 2 breakfasts, in total that will be 6 copper. So it's about a silver plus a copper in total. However, you do get a plate. Each of you have what looks like a cross between oatmeal or grits. You're not really sure without eating it. A toasted piece of bread, and what looks like a strip of country ham is the closest thing I could probably compare it to. It's just roasted ham slice. And whatever your drink of choice is, they will have a small station where you can pour yourself a cup.
I am in need of coffee, friend.
I'll have a water.
So I grab my
Okay.
cup of coffee. That's a must for me.
Fantastic. So at this point, the two of you are well fed. About 20, 30 minutes pass by, and your associate Copper and the elf Alacy that you had a drink with the night before but never continued your conversation at all.
Can I, like, on the way while we're looking, can I, like, be on the scout for mice too, so I can feed a Lacey? Not Lacey. Oh, that's me. Igala.
Give me 1 second.
Or is that like too much?
On the way walking to the bar, Igala actually leaves your shoulder, and you know about this time every day. She likes to take about 2 or 3 hours to herself, and she'll go out and actually hunt, so you don't have to provide for her. She knows how to hunt basic things like mice, the standard fish every now and then, sometimes a rat or a very small like puppy or cat. She's a bird, like that's just how nature works.
That's how nature works.
Okay.
That moment when you have to tell the druid that the food chain exists.
You there? Have you?
So,
Shall you be joining us this morning again?
Yes, please. I was actually looking for you.
Well, I'm glad you found me. So we are having breakfast. Would you like to join us?
Yes, please. I will go get some.
all
Can
right.
buy some?
Alacy, upon going up to the front, you get a relatively same offer to what they had gotten, 3 copper for what would be considered a breakfast combo type deal, where you get a drink and a basic breakfast plate.
Okay, I will spend the 3 copper to go get. How do I get rid of 3 copper on my total currency?
We can work on that later. Just
I'll
go
write it
ahead.
down
So 1 copper. In total, it takes 10 copper for 1 silver. And it takes 5 silver for 1 piece. So if you have a gold piece, you split it into 4 gold pieces and 7 copper pieces.
Okay.
And you would have an entire, like, leftover number of silver pieces after.
And
So I'll have 4 gold, 7 silver pieces.
Well, if you're spending 1 gold, it would break down into
I'm spending 3
4
copper.
silver. Yeah, you're spending 3 copper. If you spend 1 gold piece to pay for that, it turns into 4 silver and 7 coppers.
that's what you're getting back.
Oh, okay. So
That's your change.
I have 4 silvers and a copper.
Yeah, there's no credit cards in this world.
I know. I'm just trying to.
I'm
Um,
messing.
I don't even have a credit card in this world.
I will say one thing that we can do just to expedite things, if you guys would like to, in towns where you gain a reputation of being reliable people, I will open up the option to eventually open like a tab at places like this or places where you frequent regularly. And once every 4 sessions, unless you're like out of town on an adventure, would really be, you would only have to pay it like once every 4 sessions. And I would keep a running tab for you.
Cool.
Okay.
I'm gonna go up and
Here, I
say,
have 4 gold
I'd
pieces,
like breakfast.
4 silver, and 1 copper.
No, you have 4 gold pieces.
Okay.
Or sorry, if you paid with 1 gold piece, you would have 4 silver, 7 copper. Because 5 silver makes up 1 gold.
Yeah, I got it.
So Yeah, it just breaks down. It's very similar to like the US where it's like 4 quarters and you have dimes and nickels. Honestly, like if D&D could get on without a currency system, I would actually prefer it that way. However, you can't just give people shit.
I'm gonna tip the guy. Instead of giving him 6 copper, I'll just give him a whole silver piece. Like pay for the breakfast and everything.
Okay, that's fantastic. Barlowman Butterbur is very pleased with this and lets you know that you are always welcome back at the Prancing Dragon Inn.
Hey.
I'm gonna go up and ask for breakfast and say, hey, I mate, do you mind putting it on my tab?
He kind of raises a quizzitive eyebrow to you. Do I know you?
Of course, yeah, it's Copper. Come on now. You know me, Copper.
He kind of stares at the floor for a moment and then stares back and goes, wait, I know where I know you from. Not only did you spill a drink in my inn that I had to clean up last night, you also fell on your face and severely scuffed my floor so then I had to wax the entire thing.
Yeah, that's me. That's the guy. That's right.
Friend, you do not have a tab here. If anything, I would charge you 6 copper for a breakfast plate after what you did last night.
Well, I'll open a tab right now.
I'd rather have the money.
Hey, mate, let me open up a tab now, and I'll pay you double next time I see you.
As we're eating, I turn to what's your character's name again?
Mine?
Yeah.
Lacey. Like Lacey with an A.
Lacey. So what did you want to speak to us about?
So Copper had a dream last night that Oakville was surrounded by a cloudy mist. And
Let me stop you there. Who's Copper?
Oh, the scummy thief guy.
Oh God.
Now that I'm looking about it, I probably shouldn't trust it.
Well, we don't care about his dream then.
Okay, so let's.
Snake Eye mean anything to you religiously?
I mean, it definitely would. All right, so what Snake Eye are we talking about, DM?
So, give me a general religion roll.
Ooh, I'm actually good at religion, believe it or not.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope as a cleric you would know a thing or two about religion. Otherwise, you're kind of bad at your job.
16.
I got 18.
There you go.
The two of you have heard of something very similar to this. However, the people that worship it don't follow any sanctioned or generally recognized religion. This is something older than the gods. Most of the people that follow this, it would be considered almost like pagan practices. Even when the Roman pantheon was around, even older than like that. That's the closest thing I could liken it to. However, there are still those within this world that practice these religions. However, very little is known about them. And sometimes even their very existence is questioned.
Lacey, that Copper guy.
Here we go. Where's my breakfast at? That's where I want. This guy's talking shit about me. I want to eat.
All right, so we'll pause on the religion and we'll go back to Copper very briefly.
I'm eating my food during this whole thing.
Very well, double or nothing, and he extends his hand to you. Do you accept Barlowman Butterbur's hand?
I do accept Barlowman Butterbur's hand.
Immediately upon taking his handshake, you see him very quickly whip out a wand and tap the point at which both of your hands meet. Just to give a very simplified version of this, you've essentially entered into an unbreakable vow. This is a man of business, and he must take precautions to make sure that those that give him a promise are sure to fulfill them, because he can't afford mercenaries.
I see. Like, mate, I believe that's truly unnecessary. Would I realize that he put an unbreakable bond on me?
You wouldn't know it in character. This is an in-player information. You don't
Okay.
even really feel anything. You just see several luminous rings surround your arm, and he just looks at you very kindly and smiles and says, "Double or nothing," and then releases the hand and gives you a wink and goes back to serving.
All right.
So
Then I get my food, right?
yes, you get your food. However, you will now have to pay 6 copper as opposed to the standard 3. Fucking cheapskate. At this point, we will go back to Calidus and Alacy.
I'll walk over there as well.
I turn to Jackson. I go, that whenever there's snakes or snake eyes involved, it goes back to the ancient pagan ways that have pretty much been eradicated around these parts. What did this eye tell that guy?
They told him, it just said follow.
Follow.
Just to give some insight, I misspoke a little bit earlier. It's less of a snake eye. Think of the Eye of Sauron from Lord of the Rings, only instead of the pupil being sideways, it is vertical. And instead of fiery red, it's like a fiery emerald green.
Okay, so it's reptilian, but it's, not snaky. Just
there was no signs of any scales, if that helps you at all.
Too late. It's Godzilla. We got you.
Damn it.
Sure.
Did they say anything other than follow, or would follow what?
I don't know. He just said it said follow, and that a whole bunch of that he heard screams, but he couldn't see anything but the green eye.
Was there anything other than the screams in the eye?
Just the cloudy, foggy mist around Oakville.
Around Oakville, which is where we are now.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's pretty ominous. But I would
I've never had in a dream like this before.
it's pretty serious stuff coming from a guy like that. But I have a hard time believing anything that comes out of his mouth.
I mean, if it means anything, he didn't bother me at all last night while I was sleeping. But I don't know if that's because of my eagle either. She probably pecked him.
Upon mentioning the eagle, even if you're not in earshot, something about where the eagle pecked you the night before, it begins to itch, and you just sit there and copper in your head. You're just like, that damn eagle.
Our character is Alacy's eagle, an eagle, or a familiar?
On eagle.
You wouldn't know.
Okay.
Never mind.
You haven't cast any type of detect magic or sense anything on it. As far as you know, it has only exhibited standard eagle behaviors.
Interesting.
Jax, have you seen anything weird at that temple that we were in? Was there any extra rooms or?
Nope, just the 3 main ones. You walk in, the worship to the left, and the resting to the right. That's about it. I would say that the way they worship is, different than what I'm used to, but
it's nothing out of the ordinary. I mean, I didn't see any pagan worshiping or anything of that sort.
I will say this: in the light of the daytime, the 5 statues that had encircled halfway around the back cutout, it's like a half oval that is placed at the far side of where the entrance is. You didn't recognize them at night. However, the 5 statues in the daylight were familiar to you. They were statues representing what would have been known as the original 5, which were the original great 5 heroes of the Albion. Just to be specific, because none of them were left out. With a little bit more guidance and a little bit more clarity in the light, you would recognize each one. You would recognize the elf as Freya the Winterblade, who was a renowned assassin during her time. There was Hardwan Surefoot, the bastard of the mountain, who was a human raised by dwarves. There was Elendel, the last of the line of men, who was the last of the High King's original line. Tamio, the Oracle of the Vale, was the moon folk that you had seen. And then there was Toby Rama, the Stag of the Tundra, who was the very last person.
Very nice.
All right, but it wouldn't explain to me.
No, I mean, you know who they are, however, unless you, at some point in your backstory, have done some type of research into them, or just been around enough bards to listen. These were the original 5 heroes that established the Heroes Guild. However, by this point in time, the Heroes Guild is pretty much extinct. You know that heroic bloodlines specifically is what grant people the divine ability to go out and adventure and do these things that normal people can't. However, the heroic bloodlines died out close to 150 years ago. The last of which was, and it's always in sets of 5. There's usually a rogue, some type of fighter, some type of sage. It fits like a pretty basic 5 character archetype build. However, sometimes the races will differ, sometimes the genders will differ, sometimes instead of a wizard, there will be a sorcerer, but it always follows this set of consistent 5.
All right. Would there be anybody of some kind of knowledge, or somebody knowledgeable in the town that I would know to seek out?
The library.
Of what topic? Knowledgeable in general is a very broad question.
Of other people seeing the same image or dreaming the same thing.
You could attempt to ask around, although I'm just going to save you time. They would pretty much just advise you to go see the town council. There is a building far to the west of town, surrounded by 5 houses, and there is one house in the dead center that is much larger than the rest of them. It almost looks like a town hall of some type.
All right, is Copper at the table yet?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Copper at the table yet?
Yes, at this point, Copper has received his food and has gone and sat down.
Ask him if he remembers where the moon was, if he could see it during his dream.
I'm going to look at him and be like, oh, so now you want to talk to me, huh? Now I'm not this repulsive, annoying guy, huh?
No, you're still repulsive and annoying, but we're trying to help a Lacey out here.
Yeah, you're not trying to help her, mate. You're trying to help me. I'm the one who had the damn dream.
So, do you remember where the moon was, or?
Would I remember where the moon is, or
like the positioning? Like if we knew astrology, then I could tell you what day it'd be on.
Strangely enough, in your dream there was no moon, and it was literally just the mist, and the only light that you were receiving was from the glowing eye.
I'm gonna tell him that I do remember, mate. It was a big shining moon in the sky, full moon, bright, and it was shining right on me, right on my damn head.
Interesting. I think that was a representation of your guilt, just shining right all over you.
You're right. It was.
I hate you people so much.
All right, I'm pretty much done. I'm done with my breakfast. I go get some more of that shitty coffee.
You walk up and just actually give me a general D20 roll. We'll go low or high. Call one.
Me?
No, Calidus. Low or high on the D20.
I got an 11.
I know. Just call roll or high or high or low. I'm rolling one.
You roll it, yeah.
So, all right, you're gonna roll lower than that.
I can show you my roll.
All right, so you roll
I
higher.
can tell you my roll too.
Unfortunately, as you walk up, Harry Goatleaf, the notoriously stagnant gnome that never seems to actually work his own shop is scooping out the very last of the coffee dregs as you approach the cauldron that is being warmed in. He kind of looks at you and he does one of those things like when you see neighbors and they just kind of go and continues walking.
Enjoy my coffee.
He goes, thanks, and continues.
You know what? Since you got the last bit of coffee, maybe you could tell me. Point me to the right direction. I need to talk to the people in charge of this town.
So what you would know is true north, which is heading up into the Gray Mountains. He points in what would be west, essentially. So we'll just make this easy. The back of the bar faces true north. And so when he points, he would point to
The west.
looking at the back of the bar, he's pointing to the left.
Okay. Very
He
well.
goes, yep.
And who am I looking for?
That'd be the town council. There's 5 of them. That way they never get into a gridlock. That's why there's 5. There's always been 5, and there always will be 5.
Oh, that makes sense. Well, I think I'm going to make my way there. Enjoy the rest of the shitty coffee.
He kind of looks down, kind of looks like back at his ass, sniffs the coffee a bit, and just like sets it on a table and slowly like walks away from it.
I'm a coffee fanatic, so I'm going to drink it.
Yeah, you get some really low quality coffee. Like we're talking about like someone took Folgers, like, or not even Folgers, like Great Value coffee and just burnt the hell out of it.
Caffeine is caffeine.
You had me at coffee.
Yeah. I turn back and I go, it's time to seek some answers to this dream. There's definitely dreams like this. Dreams like this.
So just shout out to anyone that would like to donate to our cause. Donate to Pillage and Plunder. For every $5 donation, I'll do a shot of Jim Beam on camera.
That actually is pretty good.
That's the plan. We make money and enjoy ourselves. So, yeah, she should be taking care of the dogs. Sorry, we have like 2, 4, 5 dogs in this house, and it's a 4-2. Yeah, I have 2, and then my roommate has 2, and then one of my other roommates has 1. So it's a bit noisy. I'm sorry. What was it you were getting back to? Sorry.
To the group, just letting them know. Let's go seek some answers on that dream.
Okay. So you're able to make your way as a group, unless you have anything else to do before leaving. Now is the time to say it. Do any of the other 3 of you want to do anything before leaving this inn?
Is there anywhere else I could get answers other than where they're going?
Would he know?
As far as you know, you've been in town the longest. The oldest families in town would be that of Rabaston Rookwood, the other of which would be Ludo Bagshot.
Okay.
Ludo Bagshot is the hobbit that is the proprietor of Overhill, which was the hobbit hole that was lit up with the candles and the balloons before. Rabaston Rookwood is the owner of Mill Farms, which is the very large windmill that you saw, or at least Jax and Calidus saw walking into town.
Before we go knocking on the door of the people in charge, we should maybe see if the wealthy could help us out here. There's the Rookwoods, and then there's the Baskervilles. And
who's Baskervilles? God damn it.
Can I do a perception check just to see if there's any like interesting people or anything like useful to take?
Are you talking about just like out in the open? Like just walking around the city?
Yeah, sure.
Sure. Why doesn't everyone just go ahead and make a general perception check.
God, good job. Shit. 14.
17.
I got a nat 20.
Oh,
got
who
a
nat
7.
20?
Oh,
Who was it that nat 20'd?
Me.
As you all walk outside, Calidus, you notice two very strange things. The first of which is a gentleman clad in maroon and gold robes that has a umbrella over his head. From what you can see, he's wearing gloves, he's wearing brassiers, he's wearing boots. The only thing that is potentially... Oh, you're good. I believe you. The only thing that's potentially exposed is actually his face, which is extremely pale. And he is walking in the direction of the city council and what you would know. The other being that you see, and this is the first one that you've seen in quite a while, ever since you had been, I would say, being taught the basics of your clerical practices. You recognize one, however, you've never seen them. You see a purple skin with black horns and blonde hair tiefling walking in the exact opposite direction, and as they pass, the pale figure and the tiefling give each other a passing nod, but you do see an exchange of kind of dirty looks to each other.
I turn to the group and I'm like, did anybody catch that?
Did everyone get over 11?
I didn't see shit.
Yeah.
I got 19 with my bonus.
What was yours, Anthony?
7.
You wouldn't have noticed both of them. You might have caught like the tailcoats of one, but you definitely wouldn't have seen the interaction. Everyone else was able to at least notice them. However, the interaction was only noticed by Calidus.
I
What were they again?
A pale figure in maroon and gold robes, and a purple-skinned, blonde hair, and black-horned tiefling.
did we lose the other player?
I think for the time being, yes. This shouldn't be a huge issue going forward. We could always cut one. It's just going to depend.
Okay.
Like, I'll get with you on that.
Okay, so I turn to. Oh, and Copper, you're not even in this campaign because I got the names open. All right, so I go, Copper, you've been in town the longest here. Who were those two? Did you recognize any of them?
Of course, yeah. Everybody in this town knows who they are.
Copper,
Right,
give a general deception check.
Okay. It's gonna be the most annoying person. 12.
He's blowing a lot of smoke up your ass.
You know, I don't even know why I even asked. So, all right, I want to make my way towards the city council.
Okay. Is everyone going with him, or are you going in separate directions?
I would like to tail one of these individuals.
The pale one or the tiefling?
I'm gonna roll, and if it's evens, it's the pale, and if it's odds, it'll be the tiefling.
I'm gonna go with Calidus. Calidus.
Okay, I got even, so I'm going for the tiefling.
I actually like Calidus better.
Calidus? Oh,
No,
Calidus.
Calidus.
Okay, Calidus.
Okay,
So you're going after the tiefling, you said?
Yeah, I'm gonna be tailing him.
Okay, we'll get back to the group in a second. Copper, you tailed this tiefling for what would be a good 30 minutes before you just hear a voice say, "If you're going to follow me, please try to do it correctly without drawing my attention."
I'm gonna like speak. I'm like, all right, I'll be more stealthy. And I'm gonna be like, don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
You just kind of see him move towards the inside because he has a trench coat on. It would be very similar to something like Bane from The Dark Knight Rises. It has like a furry interior with a relatively like leather outside.
This town is full of creepers, huh? Like, this is like Sebring. This is full of creeps.
You also pass a homeless man talking to himself, and he's scratching his face rather rapidly.
Downtown Sebring, bro, I tell you.
So you see this figure reach into his coat and then turn around, and about halfway when he turns around, he actually pulls out a piece of wood that is about yay long. Like, it's not huge, but it's not small either. Go ahead and make a general arcana check.
Oh, excellent. I need a new electronical dice. I got a 6.
You strangely don't recognize it. He does, however, give a brandish and give me a wisdom check.
Okay.
Or, sorry, not a wisdom check, a wisdom save. My bad.
Wisdom save? Okay. Well, it was a nat 1 anyway.
So it dawns on you at nearly the last second that you've actually seen an instrument like this before. And just as you realize that this is in fact a wand of polymorph, he has already made the arcane sigils in the air, and sadly, that's the last thing you remember before you feel your body start to shrink and congeal, and before you know it, you've taken the form of a ferret on a country road.
Wow.
Just to give you an idea, the wisdom save was 15.
Oh, yeah, that was a no-go for me no matter what.
I mean, you could have rolled a 15, like...
It's statistically possible.
If you could have potentially used your charisma to parlay, it could have turned out a little bit different. You possibly could have even just killed this guy, but you decided to not be suspicious.
And now he's a ferret, like the animal?
So now I'm
Yes.
a ferret.
Aww. Oh,
You are a ferret just wandering around. Your biggest senses right now is you just have this craving for crackers and cheese or any type of nut you could get your hands on, and you have this overwhelming urge to dig and burrow.
is Igala still searching for food at this point?
That's actually a amazing question. High or low?
Wait, but would she attack is he like a full-grown ferret though?
This is an eagle, like a bald eagle.
Yeah, but an eagle, it's not
An
gonna
eagle
go.
would eat a ferret for sure.
I don't know.
It's fine.
High or
Let it
low?
go. Let's not mini DM here.
I mean, I don't care if he cheats him or not. That was my question.
Oh no, if he eats him, that would be great.
No one is getting eaten. So, however, like you still retain your basic functions. Like you still know that you have to like use the facilities at some point. Roughly about 2 hours will pass because you are on a country road next to a farm. So I'm assuming at some point you would find like a cornfield or like a potato farm to go into and start munching on. So you will be consumed for that amount of time. The other three of you, you do follow what would seem to be the pale figure walking with the umbrella. And he doesn't pay you any mind whatsoever. He seems very set and determined to make his way to the city council chambers. Really, nothing you do seems to draw his attention whatsoever.
And I'm not trying. I mean, I guess I'm trying to just get to the city council too.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's obvious you're behind him because you are a three-person group. He's just dead set on going where he is.
Okay.
However, Eventually, you do arrive at what is known as the Council Circle. This town really likes circles, by the way. Like, most of their roads just are very long, obligated circles. And
So wait, so we got creepers and circles, bro. That's Sebring.
Is a goblin searching for food or no? Or is she back with me?
I mean, at this point, she would probably be back with you. You've had breakfast, and enough time has passed that she could have probably found a rat or something.
Did she find a ferret though?
She did find a ferret, just not him as a ferret. So you do approach the city council house, and this by far is the most well-constructed, I would say, high-end section of town. Everything here is made out of either oak or mahogany or yew or higher-end woods. And as you approach, you see a plaque next to the door, and you see the pale figure enter.
I asked Caldus if he wants to just like walk around and knock on all the doors, or if he just wants to follow the pale figure to see which building he goes into.
Oh, it's very clear which one he's going into. It is the largest out of all the buildings that are around it. The other buildings look like residential homes. This one essentially looks like a city hall, comparatively speaking.
I go right in.
Okay.
I'm on his ass. I'll go with him.
All right. Alacy, are you following also?
Yes.
Okay. As you go through, you enter in to a general atrium, and beyond the atrium, you see an open door creaked enough that you hear voices coming from it. You do see the pale figure walking through the door. However, when he walks through the door from the larger area into the atrium, he does not have his umbrella open. However, before opening the door to step outside, he reopens it before stepping out and continues along his way.
Wait, so he just walked in and walked out?
From what you can tell, yes. I need to get a charger soon. My thing is almost dead. Yeah, if you could bring that here, please.
Oh, so now you want me to deliver it?
I'll give you 1d4 health boost.
Okay.
I guess at that point, so he's walking out, we're walking in, correct?
Correct. He
right,
had just walked in. By the time that you had entered the actual building, he had already been in for a few minutes. And as you were walking into this atrium, he is walking through the doors on the far side of the atrium, apparently having already finished his business in the building.
Okay. So I come in and I guess I greet anyone in the room and introduce myself and the paladin. Oh, and
is this in the atrium or in the room on the far end of the atrium?
In the atrium.
There's what looks like a secretary of sorts. However, he's just kind of this middle-aged human male sitting there at a desk. And he just says, "Do you have an appointment?" And he kind of like looks at you very quizzically, although even though you're a half orc, he seems relatively more accepting of it than the average person.
Sorry, what's the guy that we ran into? I was giving you the charger.
A middle-aged human secretary.
A what?
Middle-aged
human secretary. Cool beans.
And he looks at Caldus, but it doesn't look like down on him. He's kind of okay with him being a half orc.
Cool.
Yeah, like usually in most like cities, the average person tends to give you like a little bit of a side eye. However, this guy seems a lot more just kind of laissez-faire about things.
Like, I do not have an appointment. I was hoping someone here can point me into the right direction. We have a riddle that we're trying to piece together.
At this, he perks up and he goes, "A riddle? What kind of riddle?"
Well, I turned to Lacey and I have her explain it to this guy.
Holy shit.
That's not a riddle. Are you sure you don't need to go see an astrologist or something like that, or perhaps pray to a god? Riddles are puzzles with a witty answer.
Well, this is definitely a puzzle. What's the name of this town again?
Oakvale.
Oakvale. What do Oakvale, the eye of an ancient pagan god, potentially, and fog and screams of pain have in common?
He just kind of looks down for a second, ponders. Well, I don't know. I'm shit out of guesses. What about you?
That's why we're here. We're looking for an answer.
I was really hoping there was going to be a punchline at the end of that, but apparently not.
I was going to say death.
As I said, we are here seeking answers to this riddle. So who here could help us with that?
He kind of looks you up and down for a second, looks over at Jax with a little bit better of a regard, looks at Lacey, kind of shrugs. He goes, I will be right back. And he proceeds into the room at the far end of the atrium. About 15 or so minutes go by. He'll come back in and go, the council will see you now.
Thank you.
Sits back down at his desk, goes back to manuscripts.
I proceed to the council.
I follow. What to do? I got it.
Upon walking into the council room, how many of you saw Harry Potter and I want to say it was the Half-Blood Prince? It's the one where they walk into the court and there's that huge room that's like a circle and it just has chairs lining all around it, and then you have the like 3 to 4 main. But instead of 3 to 4, there's 5. There are 5 main seats, and then surrounding it all around in this room, there are a bunch of smaller seats. However, most of these smaller seats are empty, seeing as people are too busy farming to sit in on civic matters.
All right, as I walk in, and are they all sitting on their chairs or seats or whatever?
Yes, there are 5 people. You see 2 humans, a dwarf, a hobbit, and a high elf.
Hobbit. Ooh.
However, one of the humans looks a little bit off. It bears a very striking resemblance to the pale figure that stepped out. However, this is a female.
Can I see any religious markings on any of them?
Give me a general perception check.
Yeah.
7.
From what you can tell, no. However, one of them does have religious markings on them of some type. You see a small plaque in front of this dwarf that says Walburga Rimorob, the Lion's Roar. And you would know, based off of her religious markings, that she follows... I gotta see how to pronounce this name again, because all of these are original names. She follows Iridan, the god of fire and the forge. It's basically like a massive warhammer hitting an anvil.
Oh, all right.
We were told that you want to see us. This is the halfling speaking to you.
Said it was Iridan?
The god that the dwarf follows is Iridan.
Okay.
Wait, I thought there was 2 humans, a dwarf, a hobbit, and a high elf. Or is the high elf a halfling?
There's a high elf, a hobbit, a dwarf, and 2 humans.
So where's the halfling?
It's the hobbit.
So but the dwarf is the one with the religious symbols on him.
She is the one with the religious symbols on him.
Okay.
That is Walburga Rimorob.
Okay.
I was gonna say we introduce ourselves and then we have Lacey explain the dream. We're Riddle.
I just kind of mentioned, as a religious person myself, that is a honorable God you follow there.
Well, Virgo looks at you and just kind of gives a half-hearted nod. You would have had experiences with followers of Iridan before, seeing as how you're not originally from Albion. That's why the god that you follow isn't in what is known as the generalized pantheon here.
Mm-hmm.
Out of game, this area has its own pantheon. Anything that would be in the 5e or the Greyhawk pantheon are from other continents. So these would have been older religious followings that got morphed over time, compared to where here it would have been very similar to how the Romans and the Greeks had very similar pantheons. However, they would have different names or different values that they stood for. However, she does note that she appreciates the comment. However, the person that takes the most notice to this is the extremely pale humanoid. And just to let you know, all 5 of these people have plaques in front of them.
So, what's the name of the pale humanoid?
In front of the pale humanoid,
I'm assuming the plaque has their name, right?
Yes, it has their name and their position.
Okay.
Can you, like, later, you don't do it now, send out like these names and the like descriptions in the group chat?
Yes, I can. I'll drop another
here and ask you how to spell every single thing.
Yeah, I'll drop a Word document into the group chat.
Thanks, babe.
Under the pale humanoid, which is a female, she would look to be roughly, I would say 25 if you had to take a shot. However, jet black hair, extremely dark eyes. However, the plaque in front of her reads, Magistrate of Justice, Nosotra, where is it? Amberg.
Okay, so I would say I would probably, once again introduce myself to everyone. I'll introduce the Pally and the Druid. And I go, as your, I guess, secretary or assistant may have mentioned, we need an answer to a riddle. Or more, it's more of a dream that that one of our associates had regarding this town. And then I guess I would explain whatever it is.
After the explanation, Nosotra is most likely going to squint her eyes, looking at you since you've done most of the talking at this point. If the eyes gleaming from the gray hills, what does this have to do with Oakvale?
Well, this dream happened in Oakvale, and the screams were people of Oakvale.
Do you know this for a fact? These are specifically citizens of Oakvale screaming.
It's people in Oakville.
The only reason I ask these questions is it is not the policy of the council to intervene or hire people to intervene in current events of the small towns and settlements in the Grey Hills. We have our own things to worry about, farming disputes, land issues. The elves on the southern border constantly wondering why we keep pushing them further and further south of the old forest. Why would we intervene on behalf of something that we don't know for a fact is a matter of the town of Oakvale?
So, no one is asking you to intervene. We wanted just some answers to this dream. Why are there old pagan gods entering the minds of passerbyers?
Perhaps one of the, and almost this entire time, mind you, the halfling who just has the title High Elect sitting in front of his plaque, hasn't said a word, like, at all. However, Nosotros mentions, in my 5,000 years, I have no reason to believe that this is linked to anything in this town. You are newcomers. I've not seen you before. I would take it that you've arrived in the past week or so.
I'll validate that. Yes, that is correct.
I agree.
Very well. You might have noticed when you came into town that you walked through a sort of
Magical barrier.
field. This field is protected by the golden oak in the center of town. It keeps malevolent forces out, and the worst we ever get is petty theft, if that. We never have things like murder happen here, so clearly it couldn't be screams within the town. These are tried and true. However, if the eye was glowing from the gray hills, perhaps one of the settlements up there has unleashed something that's worth looking into. However, we don't have the time for this. We have localized issues to deal with.
I completely understand local politics, and you have a couple of adventurers here, I guess, that could probably help you with this matter.
Adventurers? And she kind of squints at you. I could tell you are not heroes. More like hired mercenaries.
Nope, I have never done anything for gold.
Everyone give me general perception checks that are standing within this building.
21.
Ivan and Oscar, you both roll with advantage, which means you just roll 2 and take the higher.
21.
19.
14.
Based off of their clothing, their general physique, and their weapons, Jax, the paladin, notices not in the exact same gender nor race. However, the 5 members of this council hold very strong resemblance to the 5 statues you saw in the temple.
What do I notice?
You just see them for what they are. You weren't present at the temple, so it's taking a little longer for things to connect. However, they do look familiar. This also, even with a 14 to Calidus, it's kind of like right as you're on the urge of figuring something out. However, you're slowly starting to put pieces together. For instance, there's a halfling in this group. There are 2 humans in this group. There is a dwarf, which seems to be the fighter. And there's a high elf that doesn't seem to carry any weapons. However, you can feel an energy emitting off of her.
I asked if they're descendants of the 5 old heroes statues I saw in the temple.
Yes. We are the last of the bloodline. This is still Nosotros. Almost no one else on this council has said anything at this point. I'm the oldest. I was the firstborn, and I was once human. However, I was bitten and afflicted with vampirism.
Called it.
So, as the oldest, I speak for the council. However, when it comes to making decisions, we leave that to High Elect Sturgis. And she gives a notion over to the Hobbit. I have the most experience, he has the most reason. So between the 2 of us, we give our cases to the council, and we vote as 5. That is why Oakvale is always protected. As long as we reside within this town, Anytime the golden oak dies, it will produce a golden acorn, which will then be planted and keep our magical barrier open. This town is our gift for having been heroes. And as long as we live within this town, and the tree stays alive, and the cycle continues, the rest of us will never die, even though I will never die of old age.
Okay, so based on Lacey's dream about the,
It wasn't my dream, it was Copper's.
Copper's dream about the eye and whatnot, is there any way for like an external force like that, like a mystical being, to destroy the barrier and then attack the town? Or would it have to be an internal, something internal destroying the barrier?
Realistically, we wouldn't know. We've never dealt with these types of forces before. The most we've ever done was slay a god, but that's the extent of our power. And even that, it was a demigod, one that was bestowed godhood, not a natural born. But there are legends of things that are older than the gods.
Okay, with that knowledge, do you think that anything external would be able to penetrate the barrier?
Nothing's been able to penetrate the barrier. That's how this town keeps from falling to the likes of Frosthold or Ebenfield or even Kingsport. Armies cannot physically cross this barrier. Anything with malicious intent cannot come within the barrier in the perimeter of Oakvale.
All right, so out of game, what's the town that they pointed towards that they think this may be coming from?
So it's not on the map that was dropped in the PDF because it is a relatively new town that has been founded within the past 10 to 15 years. The town that it would lead towards is known as Ravens Hollow.
All right. Where would it be on the map?
Essentially, if you were to leave out of Oakvale and go straight north into the Gray Hills, it would be located within that area.
Right over the Gray Hills, where the water is?
Or is it within the Gray Hills?
It's like in the Gray Hills. It's not like on the basin or whatever. They would know enough about it to explain to you it is a mining town.
Very well, heroes. Then I think we should. I think what we'll do is we'll scout that area out, and if we have any findings, would you like us to come back and report to you?
If you would like to return to this council at a later point in time, that would be appropriate. However, unless something is directly a threat to Oakvale, we can't handle it. Truthfully speaking, the reason that we won't even handle this ourselves is unless we stay within the borders of this vale, we will age at such a rapid pace that we wouldn't live to see another breath. We protect this town, it protects us. It's a symbiotic relationship.
So you guys can't leave.
I mean, we could. We would just die on the spot, however.
Hey,
At least they would, and she motions to the rest of the 5.
I understand. Very well. Jax, and Jesus Christ, I can't remember your name. Lacey. There we go. Jackson and Lacey, very well. Let's look for the rogue. Let's take him with us since he's the one that had the vision.
I thank them for their time and tell them that we'll report any findings that will cause issues for the town if we find anything.
They say very well, and everyone give general perception checks.
Nat 1.
Oof.
I got another 14.
What'd you get, Ashley?
13.
Not great, but God damn it. It wasn't great, but it was still good enough to see that the high elf, which is a female, named Gwendolyn Longstrider is giving very doting looks towards Calidus.
Building like she trying to pipe?
Like she's mentally undressing him.
Say that for.
All right, and I noticed this, right?
You get an idea, however, you don't automatically recognize it. It's kind of one of those instances where by the time that your eyes meet hers, she kind of like turns to the side and like looks away, like she has papers to attend to.
Okay. I just well, I'm pretty ripped. Let imagine Terry Crews rip, you know?
Jesus Christ.
So I just kind of do a little chest pump, you know, little.
You see the slightest, like, turn of a smirk at the very corner of her mouth, and she blushes slightly and just kind of does like this and keeps writing.
So I just kind of announce to everybody in general, I'm like, well, we're gonna look for our friend at the tavern. We'll probably be there for a while we gather our things before we leave.
As we're leaving, I tell Calidus we could look at the bounty board at the inn and see if any of the bounties take us up that far.
Let's do that. It's a great idea.
All right, guys, we are getting closer to the end of tonight's session. This was a great session 1. However, by this point, Anthony has turned back into his self. He is no longer a ferret. The spell is eventually worn off. And he has made his way back to the Prancing Dragon. Seeing as how you have given him so much money at this point, Barlaam Butterbur is willing to offer 2 rooms with bunk beds in them at 1 silver apiece to each of you. Meaning like you could essentially split 2 and 2. So if you would like to do that, that's fine. However, I'm assuming at the end of this day, you would all go to sleep. I need everyone to give me a wisdom saving throw.
A 6.
Okay, so y'all be mad, but it's another nat 1.
I got a 10.
And what did you get, Ashley?
12.
All right. Lacey, you are going to be the only one that has a good night's rest in your bed. The rest of you will be hearing in chat what happens to you on the second night in the town of Oakvale. Thank you, everyone, for showing up, and it has been a good session 1. Hopefully, everyone feels a little bit more confident with their characters.
Well,
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I'm out of town for the next 2 weeks, and I'm gonna try to make it, but I'm gonna be on a family vacation, so I can't promise.
No worries.
I mean, we can figure something out. The big thing is...
I mean, if anything, I could. I mean, next Thursday we're driving there, so I mean, I could see. I don't think I'm doing anything tonight, so maybe I can. I don't know, but.
So
It's the only that I can't hang out on.
this thing works on your phone just in case. So if you want to,
Yeah, I mean, if anything, I can try to hop in at some point or half it, but I'll try my best.
just before we get way too out of character and into shutdown time, everyone, you could, like Ashley, you could go ahead and leave just because we did this for the last group of people. So if you could go ahead and exit out of the stream, you don't need the rest of the information. So goodbye.
Bye, Ashley.
I don't know if Oscar's okay. You're back. So the 3 of you, what winds up happening is
I attack Copper. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
God,